Right, it is now Wednesday evening and I am trying to plan where I can go on Saturday. Now the forecast is pretty dull and I don't really know what I want to do, what I want to shoot or what I want to shoot it with. So I'm thinking somewhere, maybe the Lake District, but probably the Peak District will be more suitable for these conditions because it's quite sort of gritty and atmospheric. But yeah, next time you see me, I'll be hopefully out shooting. Okay, so we have come out to the Peak District, as I said. The conditions are, as expected, quite dull, and there's nothing particularly catching our eye. So we've had to work around this area with the rocks and the old dying heather, dead heather now, for about an hour, and it's just gone sunrise, and there's a little bit of light coming up behind us over there, but nothing special. So I've set up and taken a safety shot with my standard lens, and I'm using Fuji Velvia 50. It's a quite straightforward 11-second exposure, nothing particularly dramatic or grand, but it's a good start to the day, and sometimes these shots do look very nice when processed later in Lightroom. They've got a certain subtlety to them. Well, that was the first shot of the day. I don't think it's spectacular. Well, it's not spectacular, but the light's improving. That bodes well for the rest of the day. Not much daylight this time of year, about 8 hours maximum. So just moving around now to another area. A bit of a tree, bit of a cliche. I think if I shot the whole tree, it might look a bit, but if I work around it, I may be able to do something with the boulders and maybe part of the tree. It's worth a go. Well, I've moved about no more than 100 yards from where I took my first shot, and I've come to a little area called Owl Tor. Now there's a lovely set of rocks here. They didn't look anything this morning, the light was all wrong, but with the improving conditions I've now got myself another shot with the standard lens, so just the 80mm 2-stop graduated filter and Fuji Velvia again, the original 50 speed. Shooting at about 1 second. I've got a fairly simple, straightforward composition. It's nothing too exciting, but the sky's very nice, and I also have this dead bracken in the foreground, and Velvia's going to give that a bit of a lift. So yeah, fingers crossed for this one. Subtle, but I hope quite effective. Now, whilst film selection is normally very important, it's always important, today with weather conditions which are best described as subtle, uninspiring potentially, bland, a bit flat, film choice becomes much more important, and I made the decision today not to load my cameras before I set out, even though I've got 2 film backs. I wanted to see what it looked like when I got here. Now it was very dull, overcast, and I knew straight away that out of all the films I brought, Velvia, the original 50 speed, would be the best because it does things with the dull conditions. It can turn greys into sort of hues of purple and blue. It can lift and separate the oranges and the greens and yellows. I also have Provia with me, which is a more neutral film. I much prefer Provia for scanning and for daylight type shots, so I may be moving to that as the light improves, or if it improves. I've also got some Ektar colour negative film, but Ektar would just kill this totally dead. It's far too flat, the lighting is just not suitable for colour negative. It would be very pastel at best. Now, I brought HP5 Plus as well. I could shoot some gritty black and white, but it's just sort of soft today, and I'm not really feeling that look at the moment. Or I may try that later when I get in amongst the trees and the boulders. And finally, I got some Portra 400. Unlikely to use that because that's very, very subtle and soft. So for now, I'm going to finish off this roll of Velvia 50 in these sort of early morning conditions and make a decision what to switch to next. But it really is going to be make or break which film I choose today. Well, having spent a very pleasant hour or so this morning in lovely conditions really in terms of working with the camera, we're going to wander over towards the quarry area we shot, I think last time we were here. You may have seen the video. It was absolutely atrocious. My camera played up, I lost bits of my GoPro, I broke my vlogging tripod, so it's a bit of a return match, bit revenge, and it is nice today, it is nice, but I'm getting hungry, I'm getting thirsty, which will eventually curtail the shoot, but for now maybe an hour or two in the quarry would be a good way to make use of this light. Now, I'll be absolutely honest, it has been about 3 hours since the last shot, and in the meantime, obviously we went to the cafe, very nice it was too, but we've come out and the skies are a bit more heavy, a bit more leaden, a lot of low and mid-level cloud has come in now, and it's made it very difficult to get inspired. Now, this is always the hardest part of any landscape shoot. It's midday and you know the days are short, there's not much time left. Anyway, we've walked a long way, we've been up on Stanage Edge and we've come up onto another edge here. I don't know what the name is, I'll pop it up when I find out later. But what's got us going again is to shoot something. Now, black and white is definitely the best option here, so I've loaded the camera with HP5 Plus, put my standard lens on, and I've gone for a very simple composition of a few rocks on this little edge here and a very moody background, and it's going to be black and white through and through. Shoot at HP5 Plus, I've got no option for colour, none of that conversion stuff. It is a black and white image. So this is one which will take quite a bit of post-processing, I think, to bring the best out of, but it's already got me going and I'm actually looking at other possibilities for shots. So I think when in doubt, break the camera out and shoot something. Well, I'm very pleased to say that the little bit of effort in getting the camera out has paid dividends, because I've actually taken a couple of other shots. Now, I don't think they're brilliant, and I have put a teleconverter onto my longest lens to give me a bit more reach, but I'm actually getting going again. I'm shooting black and white in this dullest of dull days. I'm getting enthusiastic, I'm getting inspired, yeah, and I'm getting ready, hopefully, for something later on when the light improves. But if it doesn't, you know, at least I've not come away empty-handed. It's well worth the effort. It's only a roll of film, and I do think they've got something about them. They're very, very subdued, but often that can be the most effective type of picture for this weather. Now, getting back to the subject of film choice being critical, this is another example. This is where shooting with Velvia would give me a sort of like bright, contrasty look when the scene just doesn't merit it at all. It would just look a bit garish, to be honest, and the clouds would go a bit of an odd hue. So I've shot HP5 Plus, like I said. Now that gives me loads of flexibility later in terms of extracting shadow detail, playing it down. I'm going to add a vignette, put a bit of tone in there as well, and just trying to get across some of the mood that I feel sort of sitting here where it's grim and it's grey and it's a little bit cold and windy now as well. So by choosing the right film, I'm giving myself a head start, and I'm actually making sure that I put the image in the right context. And if I shot colour, I might be tempted to print it in colour or work on it in colour, and all that bit about converting it to black and white later, that's just lazy. That's like, it didn't work, so I'll convert it to black and white. So yeah, this is hopefully a well thought out shot or series of shots which will only work in black and white, and that's again getting back to the correct choice of film for the particular image you're shooting. Well, we've ended up on Bamford Edge, which was our destination all along for the end of the day, and we were hoping for good light, and we are getting good light over here now. And I've taken a couple of images of the little Tor, well, the little outcrop really you can see behind me, one with HP5 Plus and the other one with Velvia 50. Now I'm using my widest lens, which is the 40mm Zenzonon. It's quite a wide, about 22mm equivalent, and I've also got a 2-stop graduated filter on there just to tame those sky values slightly. I'm not sure how it'll turn out, but it's certainly the most dramatic lighting we've had so far. Okay, this is the last hour of the day now, and they've got some lovely golden light coming in, but it is being masked as well by some low cloud and the hills. But I have got a couple of long shots of the Lady Bower Reservoir and the beautiful arch bridge going over. I've also taken a couple of which are slightly shorter lens to incorporate some foreground. I'm having to sit down here out the wind because it is quite blowy, quite bright behind me, and I'm just hoping that the light will warm up even more and that sun will actually go in behind the cloud and hopefully give some beautiful diffused light and an afterglow. Well, it's changing all the time. The light is in, it's out, there's clouds covering it, and then it pops out again. Low cloud is going to smother it out eventually. It'd be nice if it dropped into the valley though and picked up a little bit of colour. Mini cloud inversion maybe. Anyway, the light has got about probably about 20 minutes before it dips down over the horizon. I may get another shot, I may not. Can't complain though, it's absolutely beautiful being out here. Well, that's just about it. The light's gone. It's completely snuffed out now by the clouds, unsurprisingly. But we've had a good day. I've shot a couple of rolls of HP5 Plus, a roll of Velvia 50, and latterly, on this edge up here, a roll of Provia 100, which should scan a little bit easier, as you've seen maybe in other videos I've put up. So, all in all, quite hopeful for something out of the day. It's been better conditions than I expected, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lovely day to be out. Early part of the year, really optimistic now for the rest of the year. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next trip.